think I just wanted to be loved unconditionally.
If you're able to get a mentor.
So investing in myself by way of being a lifelong learner.
Being high value is a lot of unnecessary things every day.
Staying in education and keeping my mind right is how I've overstepped poverty.
Not everyone's on your side. Not everyone's fighting your battles. You have to fight those battles.
Overstepping poverty.
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 Hello? I'm overstepping poverty right now.
Yeah, what is access etiquette?
So access etiquette is or is it etiquette? Etiquette.
No, I'm just playing.
Like
I'm gonna go with etiquette.
Yeah.
Okay. Access etiquette is allowing someone to have access to you in an intimate, personal, building space, and then them respecting your space by basically respecting it, not bringing plus ones
Without permission and stuff like that. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
So back to the heat I'm about to bring. I had brought someone on, and like I said, they were like, hey, how am I going to do this? I was like, look, go to school for hair. You're beautiful. This is the best time to hustle. People will just come to you when you're really pretty in this industry. You really don't have to do much work. And so the person went to school for hair, and then I told her to do the eyelash thing. And then she obviously got a bad education too. So I studied it. I taught her the game. And then that's when I realized that if you want someone to win more than they do, you're gonna have to leave them where they're at.
Right.
Keeping people on the bus does them a disservice.
Right.
Because you're wasting their time because you're acting like things are going to work out, and it never was. And so the access that person had to me was, oh, Chantelle is so understanding. Oh, Chantelle could basically, I did everything. I wanted to prove, because I had such a bad name from saying no, that I wanted to prove to this person that I'm a good friend. I'm really a good person. Like, I was just desperate. I was so desperate for friends in this industry, in the service industry, in the entrepreneur industry. I wanted to show someone so bad that I could be a great friend. And that person sniffed out that desperation and completely used me when it was beneficial to you. Now, she didn't use me all the time, but she used me more than I used her.
What do you mean by that?
Dang.
If you want to go into that, you don't have to.
Okay, so here's an example. You don't pay rent here, but you making all kinds of money, and then you're saying that I don't got rent this month. You're coming up with every excuse why you're not putting in what you should be putting in.
Right.
And so she didn't do that all the time, but I had to learn over time, being a boss, that one red flag is enough. You don't got to go collecting red flags. I just really got taken advantage of, and that's a lot of my fault.
Right.
I gave her that access. You only teach people how to take advantage of you when you let things slide. And I let a lot of things slide because I truly, and I still love this person. I loved her. I loved her like a sister, and I wanted to see her win. And I gave her the blueprint, and she still couldn't do it.
Do you feel like that was necessary for you, though, as you're growing as a business owner?
So that's another thing I wanted to get into with overstepping poverty in the ugly part of entrepreneur part too. Was operating out of fear. You cannot operate a business out of fear.
Right. What does that look like?
So example, when you go to a job interview and they ask you, what motivates you? What's your why? Why do you get up in the morning? And you say, my kids. I'm not hiring someone who says that. And the reason why is because you're coming to work because you have to. So she was coming to work because she had to. Her passion wasn't in it like my passion was. Another thing was I had got into square scheduling, right? And so like, how are people going to book with me? So I got into Square. I put her on my schedule. I put my daughter on my schedule. And I noticed that she wasn't posting anything. She's just sitting back while I'm paying all these fees and building her appointments up. And then so I took her off. Now, the way I did it was very unprofessional. I should have had enough guts to sit her down and be like, hey, I feel you're using me. And this is why, and your intentions may not to be, and I don't think this lady's intentions was to ever use me because I presented myself as a crutch. However, her intentions made a negative impact on me.
Right.
And so that's an issue. That is a big issue. If I say, hey, Zacchaeus, I don't like that you did that. And your answer is that wasn't my intentions. Well, duh, because otherwise you did it on purpose.
Right.
But I am not arguing your intentions. My issue is how it impacted me. And it impacted me negatively. And that's the issue. So how can my intentions and what I'm doing is impacting you in a positive way because you're able to eat your family off of the things that I'm doing, which is posting, which is putting you out there, which is basically being your safe haven, but you can't be my safe haven by contributing.
So I got to ask though, I mean, at what point did you have the conversation with her that she needed to contribute more?
When and it was messy. I was messy. I had a conversation with everybody else but her. And that's another reason how I contributed to my bad image is because I entertained conversations about her and I never told her how I felt.
Right.
First. Then after you tell, then you can go talk about it to whomever.
Right.
But reflection and I had the conversation with everybody but her. So that made me look unloyal. That made me look untrustworthy. And it doesn't matter how she was using me. I'm trying to be an example, and that's just not the example to be. So when everything blew up, I said, you're not doing anything. And really, I was collecting red flags when I should have said, hey, I don't think, like, we would go to business meetings and look at buildings, and she had nothing ever to say. And that's when the owner was like, hey, I think that she's just really not adding. I don't think that this is her niche. And if you see that, he was like, you gotta, and I hate to say that you use the word get rid of her, but you gotta get rid of her.
Right.
You're doing her a disservice. You're wasting her time. And so that's where I got messy. That's where I went wrong, was because back then I didn't know how to identify those things in people and say, hey, that's just not gonna work.
Right. That's a big lesson. I feel like a lot of times communication is where it all starts.
That's in any relationship. It's where it starts and it's also where it ends.
For sure.
Lack thereof, communication.
Yeah, I think it's communication, but I also think it's how you operate.
Sure.
Okay, so obviously you two have to be on the same page. So y'all can communicate all you want. And that's another thing about my reputation is I call people out. So, and I allow people to call me out. They just don't talk about that. That's the part where they'll be like, oh, she didn't confess anything. Yeah. So communication is amazing. But what I run into is people communicating with me all day and not doing anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the part of communication that's not, I feel like, to me.
There's no follow-up.
Yeah, that follow through. That could you make one basket, Kobe? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, how many free throws you gonna try? You know, are you gonna make it this time? So sorry. So it's not about, I think, communication is great, but what are you doing? And so I would communicate with this person all the time. And it got to a point was like, hey, could you share this? Why am I asking you to do something that's going to help me pay for the services to get people in this door? I think that I shouldn't have to give reminders like that, especially when you're an entrepreneur.
Right.
Do you know what that means? But I also, what I've learned, what the big lesson that she taught me is basically you truly can't, some things you just can't do with your friends. and then having that expectation and then always making myself available. Why wouldn't she think she can't take from me?
Right.
Why wouldn't she think that I wasn't gonna save her? I made that our relationship.
Right.
So I don't fault her for leaning on me. I fault myself. However, at what point are you gonna realize you're taking advantage of somebody?
Right.
I was gonna ask, because you said expectations, because that was actually what I was gonna talk about. Do you feel like in that type of situation, the expectations were for her that you had were clear?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
So I'm running the business for the first time, a successful one at that. Shit's popping. Sorry, crap.
No, you're good.
Okay, it's popping. It's and she sees it. And then here's another thing. When you introduce somebody, let's say y'all really go viral, okay?
We will.
Okay, first of all, y'all gonna go viral.
That's better.
And so when y'all go viral, and I'm not saying this is gonna happen, you start seeing that you're able to be monetized, right?
Right.
So y'all get the blue check. And then when you get the blue check, every listen, every spin, every listen, everything you do is ching, 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 ching. So there's two things people do. Can you guess what the first one is when you start getting recognized or successful or making money?
You forget
the roots of where you started and why you were doing it.
Well, you get lazy or
Complacent.
Yep.
or it drives you even, oh, this worked? And that's where I'm at. That worked?
Right.
That blue check? Okay, let me try to get everything else blue check. Facebook telling me no. But So here it is. I showed somebody how to make a hustle. I showed somebody how to make some money. And then they're like, oh, I made $500 yesterday. I'm just going to sit this one out.
Right.
What? You sitting this one out? Nah, because you don't know when someone's going to book again. You need to be here.
Right.
But they're not used to that. They didn't have that passion, and passion can't be taught.
Facts.
Right.
Well, and it's a complete different mindset, especially going from a job where you have a salary, you have an hourly wage, and then going into a position where it's all on you, 100% commission. Like you mentioned in part one, only the strong survive, and it really is a feast or famine when it comes to being 100% commission. Either you're going to go out and you're going to get it,
right,
or you're not. And you're going to end up back at that 9 to 5
Absolutely.
or doing whatever you were doing before.
I call it workman's jail. My friends who have 9 to 5s, I'm like, oh, you guys are in jail. I can't talk to you all day.
Literally.
it
sucks.
Literally, I think of one of my friends, she's a teacher. I'd be wanting to send her flowers like, hey, I'm just thinking about you. You're in jail.
Yeah.
But no, absolutely.
I get it though.
So the introduction to money that you're not used to making, that's going to change the dynamics of any relationship. And people are going to get greedy, and then people are going to think, especially if the structure of our relationship was not healthy, a business relationship. Now, outside of business, she's a writer. But our business relationship ruined our friendship. And so it just...
That's tough.
And then I tried bringing her back on again, and then she ended up screwing me over again, and I'm never looking back. So that's how that ended. And, I learned my lesson. I was like, but the only person I can fault is me, because I just knew. I should have known, but that's just the best way. And so that goes into the management part of managing people.
I want to get into kind of a new topic for us here.
Okay.
I guess you've kind of talked about it before, but when I see you, whether it's on social media, in person, whatever, I feel like you go against the grain. You're somebody that is not afraid to speak their mind or call something out when you see something, which I don't think there's really anything wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
What is it about that? Like, why? Because at the same time, that gives you a different type of reputation amongst other people and a perception. What is it about that? Or why do you feel like you do go against the grain?
So one thing I did when I met Daquan, like, I knew he was coming in, and so I plotted.
Okay.
I plotted on him. I knew I was doing my research on you guys. And I was like, I know he's about to come in here. Kirsten does his hair. I'm about to plot on him. And so, but I saw what you guys were doing, and I really wanted to honestly use your platform for people to see that I'm really not this bad of a person.
Sure.
Right.
And that I can mentor and that I want to help people. And it's not about money with me. It's that I truly have the same vision as you guys, overstepping poverty, because that's what I did alone. Right. And so I knew he was coming. And so I wanted to see if you, for one, you presented yourself to be real. A real person. And so I needed to know if Daquan was a real person. So I plotted on him and he fell for the bait. So I said to him, which is an outspoken thing that people don't ask this question. I said, Daquan, do you think that abuse is a love language? Oh, you should have seen him. He was like, what kind of question is that? He was like, the realness. He was like, it's coming out. And he looked at me and his wheels were turning. And I was like, please, I'm thinking in my brain, please, let's have this conversation. I want to see where this is going. And obviously, he gave me his real, what he seems to, I think you're a very real person, but what you felt at that time, or he was like, absolutely not. But I challenged him. Mm-hmm. And so I say that to answer your question is that if I'm not challenging your thinking, you're weak-minded and I don't need to have another conversation with you. Mm-hmm. Not to say that I'm the smartest person in the room, but I'm not wasting this breath that God gave me on someone that I know that at the end of the day, I need to stop contributing to the conversation.
Right.
And that wasn't the vibe that I got with him. And he answered the question real, but I understand that there's a very big responsibility that comes with the things that you say. Mm-hmm. I totally understand that. And so, and that responsibility is not having friends and being the last person chosen. So when I got voted for the SME award, the Sioux Falls, I'm not sure, I can't remember. Sorry.
But like women in business?
The women in business. I was nominated for the Excellence Award in Entrepreneurship. I thought it was a joke.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I got this email and I was like, someone's spamming me. And then I was talking to my friend, love her to death. I was like, girl, somebody just sent me some email that said I was nominated for some entrepreneur excellence. She goes, send me the link, because we talk to each other on our Macs.
Yeah.
So I copied and pasted. I sent her the link, and then I had to go because I had a client. She was blowing up my phone. She goes, girl, that's real. And I'm like, yeah, right. And so I called the people, and I was like, is this a joke? And they were laughing so hard. They're like, no. And I'm like, well, how did I get this? Because everyone hates me. That's what I'm thinking in my brain. Like, people don't like me. And she was like, actually, we got quite a few letters about you. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah. And so basically she told me that, Chantelle, you will pick the path less chosen for you to stand up for what's right, not for people, but to stand up for what's right. You won't pick. I would never in my life sit with a bunch of people because I know I could go with these people. I understand that I could go with these people to snoop around and see how I could bait people into what I want. Like, I could truly do that. I could truly manipulate people and get what I want.
Right.
But I don't. And I'm not sitting with you because I don't believe in your values, and I don't feel like you will choose what's right over people that are wrong, but yet you're agenda focused.
Right.
And so that's the thing. Other people can sniff out I don't have an agenda. And so when they find that I don't have an agenda and I'm truly getting to know you, they understand that I'm genuine. And so what other people, genuine people do, like us, we hold on to each other because we know that we're not going to get people like us, but people who are agenda focused, they make you feel replaceable. So that's a really big red flag. So
right.
I wanted to know if Daquan was genuine.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if he could have a conversation with me. And I wanted to know that if overstepping poverty was his passion, he was going to talk about that, whether he liked it or not.
Right.
And he talked about it. So
it's actually funny that you bring that moment up, because Zacchaeus had mentioned you coming on the show, and I'm like, well, who is this person? You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to know more. And so I finally get in here, and I'm actually sitting just right in the back corner, and she's like, so what are the requirements to be on Overstepping Poverty? And I'm like, hold on. I feel like this is like a moment that I've already lived through. It's like it was a moment that I was supposed to be there right then. And so that full conversation I left after, and I go to Zacchaeus and I'm like, we have to have her on.
Aww.
Like, we need to have her on. And I'm like, listen, the one thing that I can really connect with is that she doesn't care what people think. She's going to say exactly how she feels. There's one thing that we do not have enough in this world, and that's people telling you exactly how they feel. It's like the modern day question of, how are you feeling? Oh, I feel fine. I'm okay.
Right.
You don't, okay? And, and like if someone were to ask you that question, to put it in perspective for people that are listening, if someone were to ask you that question, you tell them exactly how you feel. And that's what I love about you. And that's where I had that connection. I'm like, we're going to have a great conversation. We're going to be able to actually be authentic, because that's exactly what this show is for. And I'm like, let's go.
Right.
Let's move on. And now we're here.
And it was, I knew I got on the Daquan rocket ship, and I was like, let me get in this brain. I'm going to rewire things. You know, and like you, I appreciate that, because not everyone is good every day. I'm not having a good day. And the fact that I'm able to say, you know what, Daquan, I think a part of people's love language is abuse. And for you not to feel like I was making you, like you just treated me the same. And that meant so much to me. And I was like, okay, we got Zacchaeus over here answering real questions and stuff. And then we got Zaquan over here just let me just rewire his brain. So I was like, okay.
Right.
So,
let's go.
Am I hired? So yeah, but it was like, we can't, you know, and another thing is, but you're not agenda focused. You know what I'm saying? And neither are you. You don't have an agenda for, we have an agenda, but you don't have an agenda to take advantage of me. Right. And so anytime anyone can decline calls or ask more of you, and you say, hey, let me process that. So even though you didn't say no, you need time to process, they're automatically going to reject you. You know, you have an agenda for you, not for all of us to win. And I can pick up on that. Right. Yeah, you suck, you know, and I can suck too, you know. Right. And so that's when I like with the story with you is we've always been in each other's path. But when we're at a certain place, and you had said what you said, which was the realest thing that you didn't even get into the shenanigans of what was going on. You're like, hey, it sounds like y'all got issues. And shrugged his shoulders and was like, bye.
Yeah. I just think in life in general, I think people always want to point fingers and people want to blame and kind of give reasons why they're not doing as good, or they're not doing this, they're not doing that. But the last thing they ever look at is themselves. And if people would take more of a look on the inside and really do the work on themselves, I don't even think a lot of those conversations would come up in a public setting, because you have more of an understanding that this man cannot hold me down from anything that I'm trying to get to, and neither can this woman. And there's nobody, if you have the mindset or the will, nobody's going to stop you. Right. Like, there's nobody that's going to stop you, whether they're gatekeeping or they're holding you down. I made a post today, and it was like, if you keep knocking, you'll find open doors.
Right.
You know, like if you give up, then you're going to have all the excuses in the world. You could have gave up when your car broke down. You could have gave up when everybody.
Well, it's easy to do that. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
But that's the easiest thing to do. It's really funny because I was talking to somebody today, and they were talking about like, you know, this person's said that they had me on their word. They said they were going to do this. So I know that they're going to do it because they said. And I said, girl, that's the easiest thing they could do is tell you what they're going to do. But until they show up, that's different. Someone showing up and saying, hey, I'm going to mow your lawn. Did you come home with your lawn mowed? No, they just said that they were going to do it.
Yeah,
that's not good enough.
No.
Right.
And I say that to people. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm just not going to believe you until I see it. I'll give you that chance. But the fact that I'm verbally challenging people's thinking, and I'm a woman, and I know how to take control of a conversation, that's very intimidating to men and women.
For sure.
And so that goes into policies. having your own policy and procedures. That's another thing that's made me successful. And so I learned that from my daughter, my 22-year-old daughter. She'd always be like,
Shout out to Mari.
Shout out, drop.
Shout out to Mari.
She's like, Mom, you just have to have some policies. And then in therapy, because I go to therapy, shout out to mental health.
Yes.
I go to therapy and
say that one more time, please.
Shout out to mental health. Everybody got a therapist. I don't know if you've ever seen me post that on Facebook.
No, I haven't.
Nope.
I'll check in at Stronghold and be like, everybody has a therapist.
I love it.
And I'd be all crazy. I don't even look nice. I'd be like, so even in therapy, she told me, I love therapy because she makes me calm my thinking down and I get to take people for who they are. That's not your friend. You know, the girl in the beginning, she wasn't your friend. She was an opportunist. Oh, shoot. Chantelle, that person wasn't your friend. They were a thief. She makes you put people into perspective and stop, I fall into the category of liking to believe people are who they say they are when they're not, You
see the best in people.
So she was just like, Chantelle, you need to have some policy and procedures you're willing to die behind. And there are some things. And so I have that in the back of my mind. Okay, am I going to let someone disrespect me? No, because I'm willing to die behind disrespect. I am willing to shut this whole thing down and get a regular job than to have somebody come into my shop and disrespect me over $100 and say, no, you did this service, and I'm going to disrespect you the whole entire time because I know you need $100.
Right.
I don't need nothing that bad to be disrespected, and I'm willing to die behind that.
Right.
So yes, I will shut it all down and go into bankruptcy and work a regular job before I let anybody disrespect me. And some people can be bought, I can't, and they don't have those values. And so that's a part of my policy. I learned very quick in this industry that people want to take advantage of you. And so here I am telling my clients, no, you can't take advantage of me. But yet I got people who have access to me, who are sitting at my table and eating with me, who won't even get up and make me a plate when I'm just too down and out and I can't do it. They're still worried about how I'm going to make theirs. Boom.
Mic drop.
Heat.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you and Tamari say to each other?
Huh? Boop, boop.
No.
Okay.
So why don't we actually move into the part of our episode here where we actually what's called roundtable.
Okay.
We're going to open up questions that you have for Zacchaeus and I. I know you've been waiting to ask us these questions, so let's go.
Okay. So I have a funny question.
Okay.
Do people ever just destroy your name?
Oh my goodness. I think the worst. So actually, let's take it back from day one. And that's when I was in middle school. And I think that the announcer lady just did not like me because in middle school, she went over the announcements and said, hi, will the queen come down to the office? And I tell you what, like right then and there, I couldn't unlive it. But then let's go ahead and move forward into my professional, career. And I was a salesman out at McKee in Rapid City. Now, mind you, this is where a bunch of farmers, it's the Midwest in Rapid City, just way out there, and a lot of my customers, they would come in and I tell them my name. My name's Daquan. And they'd come in and they'd be like, hey, are you, they'd ask them, are you looking for anyone? Has anyone been helping you? And you can see them. I'm watching them and they stop and they're just like, no, actually we're not, we haven't been working with anyone. And so then I was like, wait a sec. You know what? Back then when I was getting made fun of, when people kept calling me the Queen and I actually worked at Dairy Queen. Yeah. And so then I'm like, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to flip this. So now I tell everyone that when you come in, just ask for DQ. Right. And it stuck. And it stuck.
And it works.
It works. Yeah. But
I
yes,
love that.
people always slaughter my name. And I understand it's hard to read sometimes, like QU, quite. Yeah. I don't know.
No,
maybe I don't understand.
I just want to.
Me neither.
You're right.
I just want to be like Zagwal.
Yeah.
I just want to like pronounce it like that, like very accentuate the Q and the U and the A. I want to color it.
I love
yes.
So Zacchaeus,
Yes.
what was your first opinion of me when you first met me? Did I scare you?
Yeah. No, my first opinion.
He's like, wait.
My first opinion, I really don't remember but the first opinion I do remember having of you is I feel like that I didn't have a good perspective of you. You know, and I feel like it was like, I felt like you liked drama.
Oh,
to be honest, I
love
felt
that.
like you, and this is all from the outside looking in.
Oh, no,
I never
no.
really had a
You
conversation.
can't offend me.
So
No,
it was like a lot of that. And that was more so within the last couple of years. And then I started to kind of dive into some of the same areas that you were and started to see more of what was going on. And things started to make more sense. And when I talk about going against the grain, that's a lot of what you were doing. And it just seemed kind of petty a little bit. And I'm sure you were being a little petty in some spots.
Absolutely. I love petty.
But that's what it was. And then, like I said, as time went on, I started to see like what was going on. And I'm like, oh, like now it makes sense, you know? So that was really the first like opinion that I had. Other than that, I mean, like I said, we were around each other when we were down at the vault or football. So yeah, I mean, you're always around. I didn't really have I don't feel like I had
an actual experience.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then, like I said, when I was able to really see why you may have been acting the way that you were, it gave me a different perspective and understanding on what that really was about. But
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for prejudging me. I love that. Oh, my opinion on you?
Yeah,
I thought that. You really want to know?
I do.
I want to know.
I thought that you always had great things to say. And so I remember you as the football coach, and I felt like everyone always overtalked you, honestly.
Yeah.
And I felt like you were the light-skinned black guy that people are like, he's filling up space, let me overtalk him. I really never thought that sometimes you never got the chance to shine because you were just like,
Right.
whatever. You say it.
I feel
Who
it.
cares?
Right.
I'm not trying to brush you.
Nonchalant.
Yeah, you're very like, have the floor. I just felt like everyone always overtalked you. So when we were at that event where you spoke up, I was like, my dude, I wanted to fist bump you so bad. I was like, okay, telling people where they need to go. No. So after that, and then I know that we had that conversation when you wanted to come around and talk to us and stuff, and I was challenging my daughter. I know that I seemed a little pushy, but I mean, I have to be like that for her because she's a queen. And she must wear the crown, and I must bring the heat every time. So I know that I come across super pushy when it comes to my kids, but I think I see why you thought I was drama. And yes, I did get very petty. Now, Petty LaBelle is a little, controlled now.
Yeah.
However, I believe that I entertained this is self-reflection. I entertain a lot of conversations I shouldn't have with people that just didn't deserve it. And so that's what made me messy.
Right.
Is because I was willing to have a conversation about things that person didn't have my best interest. And also, I had friends who posed as friends and they committed treason. They posed as friends and listened to me and acted like they created a safe place for me to actually speak how I feel, but really it was just to prove a point. I don't want people to like you, and so I'm gonna act like your friend, and then I'm gonna go out into the world to make it seem like you're just this raging asshole,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I had to realize who in that space, like who can I entertain conversations with, and who can't I? And that's another reason why I've learned what I've learned is because I was messy, really, because I was trying to be cool. I was trying to fit in. I was starting a business. I was just trying to do too much. But one thing I don't do anymore is entertain conversations. And it wasn't even like, yeah, girl, it was, I heard this about you. People will come book appointments with me. Yeah, girl, I heard you said this. I don't even know this person. And I defend myself, and defending myself was messy.
Yeah, you make yourself look like...
Yes, I was making myself look a whole jackass, you
right.
know?
Yeah.
And so I learned that I'm being messy by entertaining that piece, and
Right.
I shouldn't.
Right.
You know?
That's a good note for people to have
Right.
too.
So Daquan, what did you think about me?
I thought I already explained it.
You
Like
thought
I
was
said,
cool?
I did. There's one thing that I really enjoy about people, honestly, and that's when they can speak their mind, because we live in a society where everyone holds back and they hold back. And there's one thing, actually, I was speaking with my father-in-law and my sister-in-law, sorry. And I had told them a quote that I heard, and it's, we live in a world where it's not where the strong can't lose. We live in a world where the weak are just set up to always win, which I don't enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? It's just that there's a lot of people like in this world who just can't have their own opinion, and they're scared to actually talk, and they're scared to really be themselves. And so we have all these people around us who are pretty much robots. And I can't stand for that. And you're completely different. You know what I'm saying?
So with my children, I always ask them this question, and even with my oldest daughter who's 22, I have to say, do you want to be safe or do you want to be strong? I can give you two renditions of what you want. I can give you some safe advice, or I can give you some strong advice. But the strong advice is going to get you further. Safe is always going to keep you in your house, in your hut, and you're never going to be able to grow. So do you want to be safe or do you want to be strong?
I like that.
I love that. another one.
Yeah.
Another
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got for
us? Let's see here. Daquan. I just am curious.
Yeah.
Being a black man and married to a white woman, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't hear me say there's anything wrong with that. Do you get crap from black women for that? Is it hard sticking up for the black community being married to a white woman?
I don't think I've ever like really been confronted with that specific question.
Geographically too, understanding where we're at.
Right. That is true. But I mean, if someone were to like ask me, like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? I got a simple answer. Like, worry about yourself. What do you mean? Like, what? Like, there's something that we're all here placed to do.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's to find love. I don't care who you find love with at all. But we're here. We're not supposed to be in this world alone through it all. You can find love in friendship. You can find love in just a true like whatever relationship, a companionship. But we're here to find love. I'm telling you, we're not here to just be alone. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you think love has a color, love has a gender or anything like that, unfortunately to me it doesn't. And that's my mindset on it.
That's amazing. So, I like that.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, because I always wonder, like, does he give crap because you're married? You know what I'm saying? Not that please don't hear me saying that that's wrong. I don't think that that's wrong at all. I just always wondered, like, hey, do black men get crap from black women? And that posed from the conversation that we had, you know, where
for sure
that really, I was just like, I wonder if they get crap for that.
I'm sure in society, I think it's something that, I mean, and we hear it all the time. Like if you're on social media enough, you're going to see some conversation about that. Right. Especially if you're on Twitter or X now.
I mean, sorry guys, but I don't like when people talk about white women like that. My mother is white. And I'm never going to forget where I came from, you know? So I don't like that. I don't like the white girl. I don't like anything racially like that. I just don't like to separate. You know what I'm saying? People. So I don't like that at all.
I have a question for you. Yes. Have you ever thought about labeling your business a black-owned business?
I do. I say it, but I don't label it. And I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you why. So one time when the Black Lives Matter movement happened, I made a bunch of these like Black Lives Matter earrings, and I gave them for free, everybody who walked in my door. And I remember I tried to give a pair of earrings to this lady, and she was like, and then she stopped coming to me. And so I was like, dang, like she'll get a service from a black lady, but will she actually live that moment? Or what am I coming across to someone who just wants to be safe in the middle? Like as someone in the service industry, am I servicing those people who, and do I put them to the side because they don't have a problem with black people, but they don't necessarily like that movement. Like, what do I do? Because honestly, the majority of my clients are white.
Right.
But so no, I do not put the label that I'm a black business owner on the internet. But when you see me,
right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm very like, you can't, the N-word, I don't like the N-word. Sometimes I say it, but I have to, honestly, if I say it around other black people, they'll literally look at me like, who are you?
Right.
So right, we're like, hold on. I'm
why
with
are you
y'all.
saying
I'm with
that?
y'all. Mom's black. But so I have to really watch me being light skinned and me, because people are never going to, 90% of the time, people aren't going to look at me as a black woman because they're going to see color instead of the culture when it comes to me. So yeah, I'm indifferent because I have to respect the fact that some people love black people. They're just not for the Black Lives Matter movement.
Right.
So
I like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I didn't want
absolutely.
to come up with an excuse why I didn't.
No.
I just felt like
Well, I mean,
that's
it's
my reason.
I think it's divisive. Personally, I think that like.
But hold up. Well, just really quick. Sorry to interrupt you. I will shut this whole thing down if you think that I'd ever let a racism person come in here and say whatever they want.
No, not at all.
Okay, they're getting the boot.
Absolutely,
Right.
as they should.
Yeah.
Anybody that's racist really should get the boot. But I do think it's divisive. I think it is like you just said. I can walk into a business and tell you're not just white. So if you're the owner, obviously it's not a white owned business, right? And I think at least where we're at here in South Dakota, I think that it's one of the most, like, it just alienates you from majority of your clientele, like you were just saying.
Well, I like to throw free events. I did throw a Black Santa event for free, and I had Walmart sponsor toys.
Oh, that's cool.
I definitely answered questions, and it was very like for Black. It was very positive Black, pro Black. And it was because I don't feel like a lot of children of color, and I love to say that, children of color can believe themselves to be a superhero because it's so flooded with one stereotype. And I did the Black Santa event, because I wanted Black children to see that you can dream, you can use your imagination. I was Ariel, that movie made me cry. I was with my kids like, and my kids were like, Mom, why are you crying? This is so, and I'm like, this is beautiful because they put a Black woman, and the screenwriters never took away from the, look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't take away anything, and they kept it there, but they respected Black people so much, and they understood the messages. Doesn't matter what color, if you have dreads, red hair, dreads, underwater, above the sea, you can have a dream to be under the water. And then another thing, reason why I like Little Mermaid, because it didn't have the message that they were saying was like, yeah, you can go get some legs, but girl, that shit still ain't gonna work out.
Right.
It doesn't matter how many, sometimes it doesn't matter how many deals you do with the devil, that still ain't gonna work out until that other person can see you in the light that you want to be seen in. And so like, I really cried because I was like, finally, I can see myself sit at the edge of the rock and have the water push against me, and I'm like, I am Ariel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So those are just teaching moments that I got to teach my children. Like, you can be anything you want to be. It doesn't matter. It does not. No one can hold you back but you.
Right.
And so it's important for Black kids or kids of color to have those examples.
Right.
I love that you say that, because, and that's really where my standpoint is representation matters more than the label of being a Black owned business.
Absolutely.
Like, you just being a business owner, whether it's here or downtown or online, kids and just people in general being able to see you doing something that they've never seen somebody that looked like them do is all the validation and all the image that needs to be shown, because if they know they can do it by seeing it, then that's all they need. Well, they know it's possible.
Just to throw that in there, and this isn't a this isn't a jab at anybody, but black men, black little boys, I'm talking to you. You know, you can be something other than a rapper and a basketball player.
Exactly.
They push that image so hard where I have to tell my son, you want to be a magician or a knitter, be the best magician you want. You know,
Right.
you don't have to be an athlete.
No, that's
You
real.
have to be a rapper.
I think things changed on that. I mean, end of it and perspective of it once we saw a black president.
Absolutely.
I mean, there was tons of times. I mean, people were like, me, I want to be the president.
Right.
You know, there's no president of your skin color.
Right.
Like,
And that's
but now,
overstepping poverty.
right.
Yeah. Tupac
Like,
talked about that.
yeah.
I love Tupac.
He was a revolutionary. He was for the people.
That's another subject. We're going to have to talk about that because he kind of was playing the system too. But you know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't an angry person, but he knew that sold. And he had to do what he had to do. I mean, the fact that he didn't own his house at the end of the day, I was flabbergasted.
Right.
Renting that mansion? Oh, yeah. There's some holes in the hip hop industry.
Right.
For sure.
And so, yeah, that's where I'm like, man, Tupac is another conversation to have because
Yeah.
that was scary.
For sure.
Like, dang, you died by something. You died by a lifestyle and you was renting your house.
But he died in that lifestyle, but it goes back to the power of your words, you know, like same with Biggie. Like a lot of them talked about dying. A lot of the people that we hear rapping and stuff like that, they talk about dying. And at some point, unfortunately, we get that news notification on our phone that says so-and-so died.
Yep.
And it's
Speaking
the power
things
of the
into
tongue,
yep.
man. Like
Speaking things into existence.
you put
Okay,
something-
hold on a second, but I could talk all day long that I want to be like, I was just talking about this. Like, you can speak and give that energy out, but it's just like trying to light a candle with no match.
Yeah, if you don't have any action.
Yeah.
You know.
So that I think that's really important that we say, yes, we can speak that into fruition, but did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But you gotta have that action
For sure.
You know,
Yep.
and I think the world wants to know, how bad do you want it? Chantelle, do you want a salon so bad that you would go broke and bankrupt to get it? Nah. Okay, then you don't want it bad, so things aren't going to fall into place.
Right.
Do you want overstepping poverty? Do you want this message to go out so far that you're willing to invest this, and this to it? Yes, you are. Okay, then you can have it. I grant you.
Yep.
You got to kiss many ugly frogs. That's what life's about. But for me to be like, people be like, I thought about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought about that.
Yeah.
I thought about paying rent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It don't work like that.
So I think the adding the logistics to the things that we want, you know, getting yourself a good mentor, that was essential to my growth. Even my mentor, she's out in Dallas. I watched her go from kind of a school like this, and now she just opened up her second location.
Wow.
And she told me too about the investments I made into people. Chantelle, no, you are giving people you're showing people how to take advantage of you. And then not every mentor is for you.
For sure.
You got to interview mentors. People try to make it seem like, oh, I'm here, so you just got to listen to what I say. There were some people who I tried to latch on to where I was like, yeah, you suck. And then I was just like, thank you, bye. You know?
Right.
And maybe that was messy because I just never came back. But, you know.
People's perception.
Yeah,
You know.
that's essential. I think mentorship is essential, and I've paid for mentorship.
Right.
And the investigation that you have to do of yourself to create policies to live by, you have to know what policies you're willing to break, and who can break them in your life. You know, how can you have a set of policies and you really don't even know yourself? You know, that's another thing about being successful. You have to know you.
For sure. I have a question
Oh,
before Daquan goes. We ask every guest on the show, when you hear the words overstepping poverty, what do they mean to you?
Man, I mean how not to be broke. No, I'm kidding. No. Honestly, when I hear overstepping poverty, I had to do my research. I didn't know. When you sent me, hey, this is what I need you to like kind of think about. I had to process that information. And so I studied you both. I know that's creepy.
No,
Am I
it's
giving,
not.
Am I giving
sales.
Dahmer?
No.
Where are my glasses?
Not until you start offering me food. Wait, hold on. Cheese stick? Hold on. I'm getting tired.
And then my beef
She
stick
said
rolled
she
out
gave you a
and
beef stick and
Oh,
called
man.
it turkey.
Right. Yeah, right.
Kind of turkey.
Remember that turkey
God.
sandwich?
Oh my
He was like, eat it.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's wrong. We shouldn't be laughing about that.
No.
Sorry. Ew.
Cut that
Okay,
out,
so
Hamza.
I had to do my research on you guys because it was really important for me to know exactly what I was getting myself into. And so overstepping poverty to me is an entire movement of passion. And so, like I said before, you can't teach passion. I can't give that to you. I could try to, motivate you to try to bring it out of you or mentor you to find your passion. But overstepping poverty to me means you have to have that passion. You have to be able to do things for free. You have to sweat. You have to have a headache. You have to be up at 2:00 in the morning, Googling and finding what it is that you need to do to overcome it. And it's no sleep.
Right.
It's no naps.
Sacrifice.
It's a sacrifice. It's 24 hours a day. How can I make sure that my children, not that they never go through this, but at least have an asset, at least have a house that I know that they'll never be homeless, or this business,
Yep.
Really quick story. My brother died. He was you remember my brother Derek? Anyone?
I don't.
So rest in peace.
Yeah, our best.
But Derek, I remember, now this is going to sound weird, but just let me finish. Okay. So I remember my brother died, and all these stories they were saying, everyone gets up and they start talking about that. Like, yeah, I saw Derek walking, and it was a big guy walking, and I honked at him. And they're saying some like stories that really didn't scratch the surface of who my brother was. They only talked about, I saw him at the bar. He was a great guy. He was like a big teddy bear, and I saw him walking, but there was so much more to Derek. And I thought about myself and my kids. Like, what are my kids going to say when I die? What is my eulogy? What are the credits that I'm going to give somebody at my death? Who's going to get that credit, Right. And so that's when I actually was like, I need to leave a legacy behind. I need for my kids to have pictures in front of this sign of 605 Vixen. I need for my kids to have a business, a family business that they can never sell and that they have to allow it to grow. It's same thing with a home. I need to have my children to have a home so they'll never feel homeless. Right. And so not that what people were saying about my brother was mean, that's not good enough for me.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's what overstepping poverty is having some policies that you're passionate about, that you're willing to die for, to make sure that people respect and understand that I'm never going back again.
Right. That's powerful.
That is.
Boop.
So I am actually going to ask a little bit more out of you here. I know you've been just throwing gems out there. Just, man, the knowledge.
See, when he was to ask me a question,
the wisdom. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. So every single guest that we have on here, we do ask them to provide some of those tips, tricks, and hacks that they've taken to get to where they're at nowadays. And I want you to share those.
Okay. So I'm a book person. So I want to challenge people to not read a book, but to listen to a book. We need to be sharp at listening. And we can get lost in words. So I started challenging myself to be slow at reacting, but listen more. And so I downloaded this book called, this is weird, but I'm getting to it, The Covert Narcissist. Because everyone kept saying, oh, you're a narcissist, you're a narcissist. And I'm like, dang, what is a narcissist? And I really read the book because I wanted to know if I was one. Maybe I was in all this cloud of crap because I am a narcissist. Then when I started understanding what a covert narcissist is and how basically these people show up as leaders. These people are very, you can't be a narcissist these days now, because the internet's here to educate us of what abuse, the cycle of abuse looks like. And so not every narcissist is like, I'm gonna beat you up. You know what I'm saying? They're not in your face anymore because they can't. Because the internet has equipped us with the correct language to say, oh, that's narcissistic. So now we're getting that education on what to pick out with abusive relationships. So now what do narcissists do? They get smarter. Oh, shoot.
Narcissists aren't dumb.
No. So you're like, oh, shoot, I just can't hit you anymore, but I can emotionally abuse you and get away with it. So I had to understand, like, and even being a mentor, like, what ways not to come at people that may make me seem more messy or more narcissistic than what people were trying to make me be. So I had to really study, and I really wanted to know, like, maybe I am the problem. So that was another thing that I did investigation on myself and the people around me and what was actually happening. So the covert narcissist, and I'll give you the information. Hopefully you guys can. Yeah. So that helped me. And then another book that I want people to read it's called Loving What Is Now. And so that book made me accept my part in my demise. It made me accept that I can't, the more I'm trying to change your mind about me, the more work I needed to do. That's why it's important for you guys to ask me those hard questions. So I'm like, yeah, it sucks at one point.
Yeah.
Right.
And those are the things that I listen to when it comes to, like, having people booth rent here or me hiring somebody. I listen to things like, so tell me a time where you were in a really hard situation. What'd you do? If they're explaining to me that it's all their fault, I know that I'm about to hire somebody who's not going to take any accountability for what they're doing. So it teaches you self-accountability and understand that you can't control. I listen to people talk like that all the time. Well, you're not doing what I want you to do. When really, that's not the conversation you should be having. The conversation you should be having is I embrace you for not doing what I want you to do. So that's an amazing book. So listening to books and focusing on what other people have to say instead of what I have to say.
Sure. Listening.
Period. And then, hold on, I wrote it down. Angela Yee. She writes things down. Oh, second thing is if you're trying to be a leader, sometimes leadership roles aren't appointed. So you guys, I'm sure, didn't put this together and was like, yeah, I want to be the leader. No, I think this idea fell into your laps and then you guys acquired the leadership position. And so that's what I've learned in this industry is when I started booth renting, I'm like, dang, I'm not y'all mom, because entrepreneurship is very insubordinate. We are here because we're not walking the line that everyone else is.
Right.
So I am an insubordinate person trying to lead insubordinate people. And then that's when it hit me. It was like, boom. Oh, Chantelle, you're a leader. And I'm like, how did I get here? You know what I'm saying? And so it was a role acquired through experience. And so not every leadership role is going to be appointed to you. It's something that's going to be like, shoot. And so as you guys continue to use your guys' social media platforms and what you guys do best, understand that you guys are kings and you guys play a very big role. And so people are going to be like begging you for information. And I hope that you guys really give it and give it willingly. That's why I said, I was like, can I intern for you? You was like, yeah. I was like, okay, boom. I want to know. So so
sure.
Those two books and just knowing your role. It's just, those are the life hacks.
Yeah.
And another thing is stop saying we. Own your success. When you say I. Don't say, we as people, we love. No, I love to do this, or I don't agree with this. I noticed that with when you had stood up for what you believed in, and they were like, men don't listen. We want men to do this. We want, not we. You speak for yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So stop saying we. And own the ownership of what you believe in.
Yeah. General statements are the worst.
Yeah.
You can't generalize everybody. But yeah, no, I appreciate you dropping all the knowledge on us tonight. So excited for everybody to get to hear this. This will be our first 2-part episode, which is amazing.
I could cry. One thing that I'm so happy that you guys understand, and I had spoke with DQ about this. There are people who have amazing social media platforms that they could truly use for someone like me. And so you guys went out of your box, no matter what someone said about me, because I am kind of the bad girl of the industry and I don't mind ruffling feathers. That you guys were like, ruffle our feathers. That's what we need. That's what we wanted to hear. And some people will turn me down. I know that I asked a certain somebody, and I hope you listening. I said, hey, what's the requirements to be on your show? And this people was like, for your peers to think that you're a leader. What? And so these people that have higher social media platforms, they think that I need you to come through my doors and spend money with me. And I'm past that. I've made my dent in the sand to where I know that I'm going to get booked. No matter what, they're going to book me. So I don't need that from you. What I need from you is your platform so I can tell my story so that they know that you're not the only one that can drop gems.
Right.
And then they won't offer their platform. And I just like commend you guys for doing that. That's bravery, that's courage, that's the morals, and it's character, it's what we're all looking for. And so thank you
Absolutely.
for allowing me to be heard.
Absolutely.
So.
There was somebody that I was just talking to recently before we wrap this up, and it was about having tough conversations with people. And he said, you can't be a leader if you're not willing to have a conversation. And I'm like, wow.
So
that's big.
So a quote I think is so amazing. I don't even know who said it. I just write down stuff when I hear it. But it said, a man with no followers is just a leader walking on its own. I was like, okay.
Gotta have
You're
fun.
just conversation without facts is just an opinion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I love it here.
Yeah.
I love the headache. I love ruffling feathers. Sometimes I like a little bit of the drama.
So I was right.
But what woman doesn't have tea time?
Right.
But like I said, big thank you for letting me be here and speak my piece. And
absolutely.
And I am embracing the bad girl industry, the bad girl of this industry. And accepting me, and even if people don't agree with some of the things I do or how I see things, that they know that I'm trying to lead my children. I'm trying to leave a legacy, and I would never steer anyone in the wrong direction. And if you need mentorship, I got the blueprint and I'm going to give it to you.
Right.
Let's go.
That's power.
Boom.
Well, thank you guys so much again for taking the time to listen to Overstepping Poverty. Thank you for hosting us and your business, 605 Vixen.
Oh, they in the building.
Let's go.
Oh, they
about to
came
get my
into
lashes. He's
about to get in.
I love it. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
And don't forget to go to www.
And get your OSP where? What?
Oversteppingpoverty.com, baby.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Overstepping Poverty. We hope you found this week's discussion informative and thought-provoking. We know that tackling poverty is a complex issue, but by working together and understanding the root causes, we can make progress towards creating a more equitable society. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to our show. Until next time, let's take the next steps in Overstepping Poverty.